Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're a returning subscriber, thank you very much for stopping by. If you're seeing this for the first time, hi, my name is OJ. I'm a sewing content creator here on YouTube where I drop sewing tutorials. Please do well to subscribe to my channel. Thank you. On today's episode, I want to teach us how I made this Milkmaid dress. In my last video, I made a vlog where I wore this dress to an hangout, and I promised I was going to drop a tutorial video on this dress. Without further ado, let's get right into the video. On the front pattern of this Milkmaid dress, I will be making use of a bustier. So on this channel, I have dropped a video on how to draft a bustier pattern with yoke. So this is the bustier pattern right here. So we'll be modifying it to sew the Milkmaid dress. So the first thing I did was, on my waist length, I added ½ inch because the distance between my underbust to my waist is 2.5, and I want my Milkmaid dress to have a band of 3 inches. So I went ahead to add ½ inch to make it 3 inches. Then I went ahead to cut it out. After that, I determined my neck depth and I used 8 inches. Then I cut it out from there. This is not a fixed value. You can decide to you can determine your neck depth to your own preference. So after cutting out my center front and my side front, I folded this paper into two because I needed to get my back pattern. So I just taped my center front and my side front together, and I taped them down on the paper and cut out my back pattern. After I was done cutting my pattern out, I need one for my slash to make my gathers in front of my dress, and I need one for my back pattern. Then I labeled them separately to avoid confusion. One is for my back and one is for my front slash. To determine my fabric for the gathers in front, I'm going to be using a slash and spread method. So here I measured 1 inch apart on my front pattern for the slash. Then I wrote them out on a straight line and labeled them 1 to 9. Then I went ahead to cut it out. After I was done with my pattern paper, the next thing is for me to cut my fabric. So for the back pattern, my back pattern stops at my underbust, So I needed to add the remaining length to complete my half length. So that is what you are seeing on my fabric. Then I added half-inch stitching allowance to the top and to the bottom. Do not forget that on my back pattern I need to have my zipper allowance, so that is what you are seeing right there. And for the slash and spread method, all you need to do is to just cut it out straight. And for my front pattern, for the slash and spread, my fabric was not on fold, so I added half-inch for stitching. So for my skirt part, I did a 180-degree flare, which means I folded it into a triangle this way. And for my high and low in front, it was about 20 inches, and at the back it was about 27. So I just cut it out this way. For my round waist, I measured my round waist and I divided it into two because my fabric is folded into two. Then I cut it out. So this is me just admiring the skirt pattern on my body, and it looks perfect already. So I was done cutting my fabrics here and I was trying to review it. So for the bustier part, it's going to be my inner. It's still going to serve as the lining for the top, and my slash and spread is going to be the outer part of the top. So I cut my center front and my side front. I cut them out, adding half-inch all around. My center front is not on fold because I was trying to make my fabric work for this project. So I did add half-inch there because I was going to stitch it down. So I have my side front, my center front, my band, my back pattern with my darts and my slash. So onto the sewing machine to sew. Remember I said my center front wasn't on fold, so the first thing I did was to join the center front together. But if you have enough fabric, please cut it on fold. Then I notched my bust points on my center front and on my side front, because those 2 points are going to meet. So I went ahead to stitch them down. After joining my bustier, as you can see, my bustier is already coming out. So this part of the bustier is going to serve as my lining. Then to my slash and spread fabric, which is going to be the pleat at the front, I went ahead to join my center fronts together because I did not cut the center front to unfold. But please, when you are cutting your fabric, cut it on fold. It makes your work easier that way. Then I went ahead to sew a gathers through so that I'll be able to pull my gathers together. After pulling the gathers for the lower and upper part of the fabric, then I went ahead to iron it. You can see I have very flat gathers in front. Then I pin it down with my lining, which is my bustier, so that I'll be able to use it to turn it. Then remember, I'm going to join my band at the on the bust, so I want the seam of my band to be inside. This is why I want to join my band to it. So I place my band in between my gathers and my bustier, which is my lining. Then I pin it down also. Then I sew through the two edges. So I'm going to turn it out, cut out my excesses, then turn it out. So after turning out my fabric, I needed to control my lining so that it won't be showing out of my gown. So I went ahead to top stitch at the upper part. After top stitching, this is what I have. The upper part of my gown is already coming out fine. So the next thing I'm going to do now is to work on my back pattern. So I went ahead to stitch down my zipper allowance, and after that I worked on my darts. So I picked out my dart too. After I picked my dart, I went ahead to cut a 3 inches fabric to turn the upper part of my back pattern, because I have no lining for it. So, and I joined my fabric together at the sides. And the next thing I did was to join my skirt part to my top. Remember, the shorter part is going to be in front and the longer part is going to be at the back. Then I went ahead to join my zipper. So I folded my gown into 2. I'm about to get the armhole cuff right now. So after folding it into 2, at the armhole I came down by 2 inches. Then from my center front towards my armhole by 5 inches. Then I connected the 2 points together and I cut it out. Then for my sleeve, this depends on how full you want your sleeve to be, how full and how long you want it to be, but it is advisable it's about 10 to 11 inches long. But the sleeve just depends on your own preference. So right here I have like about 16 inches on fold fabric. Then I folded at the top and at the bottom by 1.5 inches because I'm going to be creating a casing there for my elastic. After that, I placed my gown on my fabric. Then I marked out my armhole on the fabric for my sleeve and I cut it out. Then I made a slant towards the lower part of the sleeve to give it a nice shape. So right here I have gone ahead to create my casing for the elastic. So the measurement for the upper part of my sleeve for my elastic is about 9 inches and the measurement for the lower part is about 7 inches. So I went ahead to pass my elastic through my casing. Then after that I fixed the sleeve to the gown. And this is what I have after fixing the sleeve to the gown. You can then go ahead to give your gown a nice weave at the wrong side.